Dade, and Broward counties for the last 25 years. The practice of medicine is changing dramatically. All County Healthcare, Inc. still does it the old-fashioned way, where our nurses and healthcare professionals come into your home to service your medical needs, providing you the fastest and best care possible. For more information, call 954-717-7027. And remember, Medicare home care is covered by Part A of Medicare with no out-of-pocket cost to you. It's your decision, and only your decision, on what healthcare agency you use. Call today. All County Home Health Care, Inc. at 954-717-7027. License 200999096. The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Welcome to How to Stay Healthy, where we interview doctors each week across the vast medical landscape of cardiology, neurology, orthopedics, sports medicine, and primary care. Join us here for your prescription to better health. Hello, South Florida and beyond, and welcome to the How to Stay Healthy show for Friday, December 14th, 2018. We're ripping through the year here, but we're always bringing you the latest and greatest in health. And tonight we're going to talk, or this evening we're going to talk a little bit about clinical social work and therapy, something that we haven't touched on this program in quite a while, but I wanted to bring it to you this evening. We're here with Cammie Burke. She's a licensed clinical social work therapist, LCSW, SW. I will have her explain those credentials in just a minute. But Cammie, welcome to the program. How are you doing this evening?
Fine, thank you. How are you? Thanks for having me.
And thanks for making the drive up, and I appreciate it. So let's get back right into it. Tell the viewers and listeners a little bit about what you do, your specialty, and the role of a social worker.
Okay. So the role of a social worker is a huge word because we do it all. We help you spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally. It's like a holistic approach. You know,
Nice.
Some fields, they just specialize in the physical aspect. We do mind, body, and soul, so to speak. I have a private practice in Lauderhill. The name of my business is CFB Solutions. I started it last year in 2017, the location, but I've been doing business with CFB Solutions since 2012, primarily as case management, going into people's homes and helping the people who are homebound who can't get outside of their homes, from children to elderly. And my practice kind of grew into now therapy, where I do a lot of mental health counseling, and my niche is infertility. I work with a lot of women, and the number is increasing, who are experiencing infertility as well as secondary infertility. That is a growing number.
Very important.
Yes.
And you help individuals and adults navigate through in those different ways. One of the things I wanted to ask you, and why I want you to join us this evening, and we're on All County Healthcare. We're on their Facebook page, so All County Healthcare Incorporated's Facebook page. You'll find the video there on allcountyhealthcare.com as well. But you were telling me, and I mentioned adult before, but what is the age range of patients that you can help? Because you had a nice saying on the way coming in that was very catchy.
Yes, I serve patients from the womb to the tomb.
All the way.
Yes, all the way. Because a lot of times when women come into me pregnant, I work with single moms, teenage moms, mothers who are pregnant, and that's the need of them needing someone to speak to, whether they have recently broke up with their partner, recently became a single mother overnight, you know, due to sometimes death, loss, separation, whatever. And they become my patients. And also some of them, I've seen them give birth, and their children are now my patients. They're about 4 or 5 years old. And then I have patients who are in their 90s. I had a couple of patients who, you know, made a century. So that's why I say from the womb to the tomb.
That's great. Right. So you're helping out a lot of different people.
Everyone has needs. Their needs may be different, but we all have them.
You made a nice point there as well. you help out, you know, the mothers here, but also the babies and the children, because you're helping them navigate through the different health systems that can, you know, help them out, and then also you're an advocate for them as well. So that's so important. We're here with Cammie Burke. She's licensed clinical social work and therapist, LCSW, MSW. Can you define those two credentials for me?
So the MSW is a master's degree in social work. You have to have a master's degree before you can get licensed. A license, you have to be licensed by whatever state you're in. And it doesn't mean that you know more than a person who's not licensed. It's just that you have taken the extra step to gain the clinical knowledge and to become board certified of the clinical knowledge on how to treat, serve patients better, and also knowing the different type of boundaries and ethnic and ethical issues that one can face, and just knowing how to navigate it. So that's the only difference. Doesn't mean you know more. You know, doesn't mean anyone's better than anyone. It's just you're just taking the extra step to put some respect on your name.
We talk a lot about navigating. I'm just sharing this to Facebook if you're wondering what I'm doing here.
Okay.
But I'm totally in the conversation, but I always like to get out to all my followers as well. There we go. Now we're done with that. I can put that aside now. But we talk a lot about navigating on this program, because with the, you know, whether it's a doctor in that seat that you're in, or a nurse practitioner, or even a CEO, navigating the healthcare system, if you don't have an advocate on your side, or in, I always say Rolodex because I'm from that era, you know, of the Rolodexes, or that info in your phone, or those emails and those numbers, or family and friends have those numbers.
I'm from the Rolodex era too, because my phones break sometimes. So,
you still use it. I still use it for business cards. And it's great because you have a network, and it's so important to know. And maybe people aren't, you know, injured right now or watching this program, or they don't have an ailment, but down the road we're all going to be facing something. So to have someone to call is so important. Cammie Burke's number is 954-953-3566.
754-551-1489.
Okay, we'll jot that down, and we'll put it out. I'm sorry, I grabbed the wrong one from the site that I was looking at. But you said your certificate, the American Academy of Case Management, your fellowship and certified there as well. Now, infertility, you touched on it earlier. How can you help women with infertility?
Okay, women with infertility, that is a very silent population. That is a population that goes unheard. I wanted to be the voice of that population. A lot of people are suffering with infertility. Then they're suffering in silence. A lot of people are going to their friends' baby showers wishing that they also could share in that news that they would be a mother, or they are going to become a mother. And it's something that you suffer because you don't know that you're having infertility issues until you try to conceive. There is no magic ball. When you say I do, it's not on the list of things that are supposed to happen. So my passion for infertility was born from a place because I was once infertile. I had secondary unexplainable infertility, going to many doctors, all reproductive endocrinologists. There's not one you can name that I don't have knowledge about, or I haven't gone to personally myself, and just taking different medications and trial and error, having different fertility workup, and just was a very expensive process, and just to not be able to conceive. It was very, very depressing and very, very dark time. I was also working with people who didn't want to be mothers, so it was very ironic where I wanted to be a mother, and I'm working with people who had many children and did not want to be a parent. So it was a difficult walk for me, but it was a very valuable learning experience because I am now a mother. As I said, it was secondary infertility. So I had one child before, but I went for over a decade having infertility issues, and I was a lot younger than I am now. So that was very baffling to the doctors because this is not supposed to happen to me. I just didn't feel, after having one child successfully and being very young, I mean, I was a teenager, but I was in my 20s and married, and new marriage, dated my partner for many years, and wanting to give my husband a child. And that was the one thing as a woman I felt I wasn't able to do. I felt worthless. I felt useless. I felt hopeless. I felt helpless. And it was a very, very dark time. So to years later be able to conceive, even though things didn't work out as I wished it would at that time, to have a successful story and to empower women, to let them know that one day that can be you. And I wish that I had someone like me when I gone through those issues many years ago, because I suffered in silence.
Mm-hmm. You wish you had someone like you in your corner, and that's
Yes.
that network that I was pointing to.
Mm-hmm.
So we're here with Cammie Burke, licensed clinical social worker, 754-551-1489.
Yes.
I got it right that
Yes,
time.
you did.
CFB Solutions at outlook.com is their email. Is that the website as well, cfbsolutions.com?
Yes, CFB Solutions.
There's a ton of info there. CFBSSolutionsinc.com, and same CFBSolutionsinc at outlook.com is
Yes.
the email.
Yes.
I want to talk to you a little bit about, so we were talking about infertility right now.
Yes.
And so not only can you help the individual, but what happens in that case, because I've actually witnessed it, is not only the individual, but in a traditional relationship, the man, the parent, that can also be a stressful environment as well as if the family is pushing the mother or father to conceive, and it's not happening. Like sometimes it's just not, you snap your fingers and it happens. That's not always the case. So
yeah, some people have in-laws, and the only wedding speech they give is, "Give me some grandchildren
They
right
want
away."
their grandchildren,
right?
yeah.
So there comes a lot of pressure. Sometimes culturally, I've known people who've come from a family of 10, and they're having infertility issues. And they're the only ones out of all their siblings who are unable to have a child. And it's a lot of pressure where they've been married for 10 plus years with no children. And you get tired of answering people's questions. Oh, when are you guys going to have kids? Oh, when are you going to have kids? So I also help women and men with appropriate responses, right? I help because a lot of times when you're continuing to answer the same question over and over, it gets very overwhelming, and you become withdrawn. So I also work with women and men on coping skills, on anxiety, on grief and depression. And then I also work with women who've had miscarriages, because I also experienced that as well, where not only not being able to sustain a pregnancy, but once I became pregnant, I could not keep the pregnancy because it wasn't viable. So my body was getting pregnant chemically. However, it was not a viable pregnancy. So I was pregnant, but I wasn't having a baby. Sounds like an oxymoron, but that's what was happening with my life. And it just was unexplainable.
unbelievable.
So I work with a lot of women dealing with miscarriage, which is a significant loss. And these are things that people do not discuss.
We just have a minute before our commercial break here, but do you take insurance?
Yes, I take insurances. I take Cigna. I take Magellan. I take AvMed. I take Humana. I take Blue Cross. I'm on many EAPs, and I also take cash.
Oh, that's great. So people can connect with you.
Yes.
It's Cammie Burke, licensed clinical social worker, CFBSolutionsinc.com.
Yes.
Or 754-551-1489. Give her a call and schedule an appointment to talk with her. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but on the other side, I want to talk to you a little bit. This is a big topic, depression and life transitions on the How to Stay Healthy show.
All County Healthcare, Inc. is locally owned and operated, serving the Tri-County area, Palm Beach, Dade, and Broward counties for the last 25 years. The practice of medicine is changing dramatically. All County Healthcare, Inc. still does it the old-fashioned way, where our nurses and healthcare professionals come into your home to service your medical needs, providing you the fastest and best care possible. For more information, call 954-717-7027. And remember, Medicare Home Care is covered by Part A of Medicare with no out-of-pocket cost to you. It's your decision, and only your decision, on what healthcare agency you use. Call today. All County Home Health Care, Inc. at 954-717-7027. License 200999096.
Hi, I'm Deanna Barron, RN, with All County Healthcare. You know how I know that I've done a good job? We say goodbye. After you understand the medications you take, once you know that gaining 2 pounds in a day means you should call the doctor, when your wound is healed, when you can use your nebulizer all by yourself, when the goals that you and your all-county healthcare team of nurses, therapists, and aides established are met. We say goodbye. Very nice to meet you, and I hope I never see you again. And I mean that in the nicest way possible.
And now back to How to Stay Healthy, your weekly doctor's interview and prescription to better health. Hello, South Florida and beyond. Welcome back. We're here with Cammie Burke, licensed clinical social worker, CFB Solutions Incorporated, CFBSolutions.inc.com. I want to make a quick point. So you do take insurances in the office, and,
Yes.
and you listed them there.
Yes.
Magellan, you said.
Magellan, AvMed, Cigna,
Nice.
Humana,
All the big ones.
Blue Cross, ComPsych. I mean, there's so many. And I'm on a lot of EAPs as well.
And you can call Camille at 754-551-1489 if you have any questions. But you also are available for home visits for private payers.
Yes, I do home visits for private payers. I do home visits for elderly. I do home visits for people who are homebound and people who pay privately. There are times where people need an emergency session or need me to do a drive-by session. Not actually
like that
a drive-by, but a session where
in a good way.
in a good way, a good drive-by where no one's getting injured.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting mentally and emotionally
We
helped.
need more of those drive-bys, the good ones.
Yeah, the good drive-bys. So yes, for those patients, then I would, if private pay, then I would do a home session.
There's so much info on Camille out on the web. You got to take a look. Just you can just Google her name. That's what I did at first because not only do you help with infertility, you've written 2 books.
Yes.
And we're gonna get into as much as we can. We got about 10 minutes, but I want to just list some of the things you do, and we'll go into the 2 books, depression and life transitions. But Camille can help out with infertility, pregnancy, coping skills, self-esteem, anxiety. That's a big one. Career counseling. Goal completion. These are all big ones. Depression, new beginnings, divorce and separation, domestic abuse, dual diagnosis, grief, women issues, and I'm sure there's so much more. But like I said, I'm a writer, and I've yet to put out that first book. But I saw that you put out 2.
Yes.
Congratulations.
We can work together.
Yeah.
Yes.
How'd you do it, and what are they on?
So, my first book is called Faded Diamonds. Faded Diamonds. The title of the book is called Faded Diamonds. It's called Faded Diamonds because my description is a diamond that never really shines. It fades. And it's a person who almost finished school, a person who almost finished that business, a person who was doing an album, but they just didn't get finished. And I want to let people know that time waits for no one. Don't waste your time. We all have an expiration date. We just don't know when it is. So we have to work in the spirit of urgency. So when you feel the urge to do something, you have to do it now. You just have to respond to the universe and do it now because you just don't know. And if it's put in you, if it's put in your spirit by God to do it, then it has to be done. There's a reason why it's given to you. So we need to do it. So it took me 5 years to write that book because it's always been in my head. But when my mother was diagnosed with cancer, urgency happened, and I never wanted to be a faded diamond. I never wanted to say I coulda, woulda, shoulda, wish I couldn't, but I didn't. I didn't want to be that. So what took me 5 years in my head ended up taking me 1 year from start to finish, sitting down in a chair and writing all the time. So I wanted to be the voice of the voiceless in a silent community. Faded Diamonds is a book about invisible, silent women who, they're 5 women. They have a lot of life struggles. Some of them make it, some of them do not. And as women, we hurt each other more than men hurt us. So it's a book that talks about sisterhood. It talks about friendships. It talks about stigmas, mental illness in the Black community. That is a huge thing. In the Black community, we go to church, we pray about it, and we're quiet. Or we tell pastor, but pastor has his own issues. Sometimes pastor is battling with his own sexuality. Sometimes pastor has someone he impregnated in the church. So everybody has their own issues. So while we're going to people telling them our problems, we're not necessarily addressing the issue. So we're going to church and pacifying a situation that we need to address. And for too long in the black community, we've put Band-Aids on mental health illness. We've called people crazy. We've called them out of their names when there is a diagnosis. But because of stigma, shame, and lack of education on the mental illness, a lot of us don't get the help we need. So I wanted to shed light on mental illness and removes a lot of the stigmas, talk about incest in the minority community, how often it happens, and it's not okay. And most people are molested by people they know, people they trust. 9 out of 10 times, it's somebody that you know.
Mm-hmm. So if people have, there's something wrong going on in your life, you are the person to talk to, whether it's infertility, depression.
Right.
I mean, the list is so long, and you can see it on CFBSolutionsinc.com.
Yes.
So what was the second book about?
The second book is called Breaking Invisible Walls. Mm-hmm. Breaking Invisible Walls, an invisible wall is something that can't be seen by the naked eye. So an invisible wall could be anxiety. It can be low self-esteem. It can be depression. It can be anger. It can be, just resentment. It's something that can't be seen because you can smile, go to work, everything looks okay, you look great from head to toe, but inside you're battling, you're dying inside because you've been married for 10 years and you can't have a child and you're tired of people asking you when are you going to have a child, or because you're battling with some type of incurable illness and you feel like there's no one you can talk to. So it's a wall that no one can see because everything looks great on the outside, but it's not. Similar to depression, a very sneaky disease that mimics, but no one will ever know unless you say something. So it also talks about a lot of miracles that's happened in my life and other people's lives. So we know that if you believe and you work hard and you have a vision, you can accomplish whatever you want, but you have to break that wall. So that wall, a lot of times, that wall is procrastination.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of us procrastinate. Unfortunately, some of the best songwriters are in the cemetery right now because they never got to write that song. So they became a faded diamond.
Isn't that the
so
truth?
My books are kind of interchangeable.
These are great. Where can people find your books?
So you can contact me for my books. 754-551-1489. Also on Facebook. I'm on Faded Diamonds on Facebook. Breaking Invisible Walls on Facebook. My books are also listed on my website, CFBSolutionsinc.com. On my website, you can purchase it off of my website.
Nice, and I just already went there. There it is.
Yes,
wow.
yes.
And I'm there right now. I like your page. Yeah, check out Cammie Burke there as well, licensed clinical social worker. Depression, such a big problem in this country right now, and I know it's always been there, but one of the points you just made is so important. People are good at putting a disguise on, going to work. They maybe been in an unhappy marriage, like you said, for 10 years, and I've seen it firsthand a few times in my life, and I think I've done it even myself once for a year. Well, people are so good at putting disguise on, but they never go and take the time to talk to someone. But here's someone, if you have insurance, you can come to your office and talk to you about any of these topics. If you're a private payer, you'll go to their home as well.
Right. And they can come to my office as well if they are private pay.
How long are sessions? What's a session like? Do I meet with you, once a week, once a month? How does that work? Or is it?
So sessions are normally an hour. If you're doing individual sessions, are normally an hour. Some sessions can go to an hour and a half. It depends on your need. There are some people who need to see me weekly due to their mental health issues. Mm-hmm. There are some people who see me every other week.
Okay.
There are some people who, I do group counseling.
Every case is different, right?
Every case is different. There are some people I had to see twice a week. So it is a case by case, and I also do group counseling as well.
Do you do video counseling?
I do. Yes, I do video counseling.
Very smart.
I do phone sessions as well.
So like a FaceTime or something?
Yes, I do therapy. I call it park therapy, where we're in the park. Sometimes it's not in the traditional office. Sometimes based on my patient's anxiety, we may need to do walk therapy or park therapy.
Yeah, it's always nice to get out somewhere different as well, and the places to go. But with I just think like all the time with the FaceTime available and video and Skype, and we've heard of telemedicine. And is it here? Some organizations are doing it. Some haven't touched it.
Yeah.
But video counseling, that is so smart to get involved in that, because you're going to be helping people around the world.
Yes, telemedicine is becoming a lot more widely used. Because when it's 2, 3 in the morning and you need someone to talk to, you know.
Yeah, definitely. They can ring you right up.
Right.
Well, it's hard to believe, but we're already
through telemedicine. Doesn't you know? Don't like. We have to make an appointment.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
To do that.
It's not like just call. Yeah,
No.
I understand that.
And if it's an emergency, of course, you know, life-threatening emergency, I want to let you know, call 911 first.
Always.
Yes.
But if you want to set something up with Cammie Burke, licensed clinical social worker, it's 754-551-1489 or cfbsolutionsinc.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's have you on again in the future.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
See you next time on the How to Stay Healthy show.
Take care.
For a prescription to better health from the top doctors in the medical fields of cardiology, neurology, orthopedics, sports medicine, and primary care, join us each week on the How to Stay Healthy show.